It's a little too much weight. That's going to be 4 red, which puts the score 10-1. And it's hard to tell, but it looks like his teammates are looking to him to find out if he's going to be conceding at this point. But I think they're going to play the 7th.
Looks like they're going to work a little bit more, try to get some of the kinks out in preparation for their next game. They're going to continue to play at least a little bit longer. We actually only have 3 sheets of ice in use for this first draw. We have a 37-team event, and the 38th team would have been, in a game on A, but we're not using that sheet. So we may actually have a Kaiser first, and that it's entirely possible we're going to cover all 3 active games in the course of a broadcast.
That would be a Kaiser first. We have a lot of Kaiser firsts going on here. I just wanted to comment, of course, 37 teams, that's the number that you dream about when you're a draw maker. There's nothing more fun than dealing with 37 teams. That's just the ideal number of teams for a Bonspiel. I think everybody agrees with that.
Oh, absolutely, especially in 4 sheets.
We were ecstatic when there was an injury, so a team had to drop out. We, of course, were not happy that someone got injured, but the draw maker was frankly just so happy to be able to have to redo the entire draw from 38 to 37 teams in like 12 and a half hours. It's a great way to spend an afternoon and an evening and part of the nighttime.
Well, I understand that the draw master in question finds that these particular mind games are his favorite pastime, so I know that he was excited about doing that.
They are.
We've had some requests for information on Sheet D. That is a closer game. It's also a slower game. They are playing the 5th end now, and as you can see from the scroll bar, they are tied up at 3 each. The first, it's been going pretty close. The first end was 1 point for yellow, which is Ocean State, and then the second end, Kim Belf's rink came back, and they were able to take 1, and then it was 2 and 2, except it was a steal and then a take. So it's all tied up 3-3 on Sheet D, and I imagine we're going to get some coverage of that game since they are a little bit behind Sheet B Bravo, which we're just going to see what happens over here before we switch over.
Scott Olson is the Sterling Cooper second. He's throwing his first draw. A very tight ice call on that, and he was a little bit narrow, and it curled a bit, so it's a fairly wide open flash. I think we may see an adjustment on the call, assuming they go after that stone again, which with the score 10-1, you probably will assume that they'll be playing, get the yellow stones out. Underdog second, Justin Voss. Throwing a draw, coming into really using the back red as backing, but it's a little bit hot, and it's actually going to just sail right through. And here's a repeat of the takeout. Same ice, so Robbie must have thought that his second Scott Olson was a little narrow. And this time they get the hit and they get the roll very, very nicely behind that.
That's a little too much of a roll, I think. It's a little open, but that was a lovely shot. Certainly not complaining. That's a long way to have to control a roll.
Pretty raw, yeah, a long roll. If you get a roll that long, I would be happy with that roll.
Oh, I would be happy with that.
I would be happy with that roll.
It does give the underdog something to curl down and freeze up against, so that's what they're going to give it a shot at. I'm not sure I wouldn't call it from the outside and go around the open side and cozy down that way, but if they've got the swing figured out, because we haven't really been watching this sheet too much. It was lovely weight, but it stayed pretty open, so I think that's just going to be a quick hit call.
Yeah, a little high and dry. Terry Olson is the third. She's going to be throwing an out-turn hit on this stone. Kind of a quiet weight. Sweepers are on it. Minor adjustments, and drives the Yellowstone out the back with no jam. Sitting 4 now.
Nice execution on
Sitting
that
4
shot.
is the Melville rink. Very nice shot all around. Another good team shot. A good throw, good line call, good sweeping.
They're calling for, I think they were calling for a little hit and roll action. Yep, they sure are. They're trying to hit on that lonely red and roll back behind cover, trying to both minimize their potential losses as far as how many red rocks are sitting there, and also get behind cover. But I think this is going to over-curl.
Amber Allen's first rock does overcurl. Misses the intended target on the outside. So now Robbie's trying to figure out a place to put a fifth stone. Top 12 is a good call.
Definitely. Yep, we like it. Right there in the center in the top 12. I'm going to excuse myself from the mic for just a few minutes and leave Jeff in sole charge of this whole operation, but I will be back shortly.
Not that.
I'll see if I can find another victim to sit down on.
Terry Olson's first stone sails into the 8 foot rather, excuse me, and a little deeper than they called, but not a bad outcome. Chris calling for a draw down onto the rock that Terry just put there. Trying to get a Yellowstone there in the house to cut off all those counters out in the 12-foot. Amber Allen's second shot is a draw, and it's looking pretty good, really. A little heavier than they wanted. It ended up tapping the red out. Sitting exposed as well. So the Triangle team struggling a bit with weight here on those draws. Robbie in the house, contemplating his shots. Maybe a little too much thinking there.